there. Being to order. Amy, would you read the roll, please?
Ali, Anderson, Burns,
Here.
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 Thank you. Are there any agenda amendments?
We have none at this time.
Thank you. Now we'll review and approve the minutes, hopefully from last time. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve.
You second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Are there any citizens addressing the board?
We have no citizens here besides some that are speaking on agenda items, so none at this time.
Commissioners' reports.
We'll get started with the MBA report.
Good one.
The Let's Talk business meetings are held every Wednesday at noon at the Moorhead American Legion. This week, CCRI will be sharing their story. Come early, order lunch, and bring your business cards. The Open for Business hiring event was held on June 24th at the Vista parking lot from 1 to 4 p.m. It was sponsored by MBA, RMCEP, Career Force, and Moorhead Public Schools. More than 49 businesses attended the event, and our team received really good feedback from attendees and businesses. Moorhead Cruise Night is the first Thursday of each month and is held on Center Avenue. The next one is this Thursday, July 1st. Vendor space is still available for $10. Please call the MBA office if you're interested. Drive up and tune in to Bob 95 during the Moorhead Proud 5656 Ooh and Ah 4th of July celebration. The fireworks display can be seen all over Moorhead and surrounding areas. A big shout out to our major sponsors, American Crystal Sugar, BNSF, Sanford Health, Kovash Marine, and Altel Alternative Telecom. The fireworks display will be going off at the Horizon Shores Park, and this year we've actually upgraded the fireworks there so that the shells are even bigger. It should be a pretty neat display. This year we have VIP parking at the Vista Center for Education parking lot. It'll open at 7 p.m. There's a $10 charge per vehicle. Proceeds will benefit St. Joseph's Catholic School. Another VIP parking option will be at the Horizon Middle School and Dorothy Dodd Elementary School. These lots are also $10 a vehicle, and they'll open at 7:30 p.m. Proceeds benefit the Moorhead Legacy Education Foundation. We'll welcome back the college students Saturday, September 18th at the annual Bridge Bash from 1 to 4 p.m. at Viking Ship Park. The MBA team is working with staff members from MSUM, Minnesota State Community and Technical College, Concordia, and NDSU. The first 300 students will receive a Do More in Moorhead swag bag. Walking trails and green space will be filled with activities and vendor tables. To learn more about how you can get involved in the MBA, please reach out to the MBA team, Sherry and Nick. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Moving on, any other commissioners' reports? Hearing none. Next item on the agenda is the resolution to approve improvements in the Macara Industrial Park for drywall supply. Would you like to just brief everybody, Derek?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And yeah, this item, we actually just finished our Macara Review Board before the meeting itself. So James and Jeff are a part of that group. In brief, what this is drywall supply company, and we've had a lot more activity in the industrial park, especially along the rail, has had a lot of cars stacking, rail cars stacking in that area. That's created some impacts to the rest of the businesses in that area. What we are looking to do and what the company is looking to do is create some access points through that easement that will help get trucks into that area to help unload the rail cars that come into that property. The business is working directly with the railroad company as far as it relates to operations and management of the line itself. We've been working with internal staff. There's really no issues here. From our perspective, it will hopefully overall help with the operations of not only the business itself, but to the overall use of the rail itself. So with that, Makara Review Board did unanimously approve that item. We'd be seeking approval from the EDA here today.
Thank you. With that, is there a motion to approve the recommendation from the staff?
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
If I can, Mr. Chair, I'll just make one comment on that, as I did to the Makara Review Board. We are continuing to have conversations with our city attorney as it relates to how those covenants should be handled moving forward, since we have a lot of private development in that park now and not as much publicly held land. So those conversations are starting to pick up again now that we're getting through the pandemic. So we will see some transition in that as it comes over the next few months and hopefully within this year.
Thank you. Now would you like to brief us on the next item, which is the downtown plan implementation placemaking update, Derek?
Yes, absolutely. I'll maybe start it and then I'll let maybe Dan say a few words. We have, I don't know if Christy is on the line or I don't see her here yet, so we'll have to maybe see if she'll be here or not. But I'll start it off and just always saying that we're excited to continue to build off our downtown plan. One of the biggest pieces of finishing that plan was to make sure that this plan continues to live. You continue to see activity and ultimately some use from the recommendations and some of the activity that was outlined within it itself. We obviously have had Folkways present to the EDA a number of months ago. They're not the only group that's doing great work within our community on different things, which I think Christy was maybe going to get on, but maybe Dan and I can tag that one. But placemaking in itself was a crucial element of our downtown master plan. We knew that there were spaces that we wanted to redevelop or wanted to see development activities happen, but a lot of times that takes time. Development takes time to work through different site challenges or just different restraints that are out there. So sometimes setting a vision from an activation standpoint really can springboard that activity as it moves forward within our community. Folkways obviously does a great job with that. There's tremendous success with their farmers market as well as other activities that they run. And they have a great idea to share with the EDA here this morning. So with that, maybe I'll let Dan say a few words and maybe introduce the Folkways team.
Sure. Yeah, happy to. So it's interesting. So related to the downtown plan, there were kind of some shorter term goals and some longer term goals. So say the redevelopment of the mall site. That's going to be, we're buckled in for a long ride, friends. And so, but things seem to just move along. There's other, like when we look at that summary of the downtown plan, placemaking was one of the ones that came up. And these are things that are just special in and of themselves. They help us create fresh eyes. It's funny how these things can just find you on their own. So this morning, I'm just I'll be honest, just an awful meeting. It's not awful, it's just a meeting, another meeting, a meeting. And then I get this text from a Moorhead resident. Last week, my wife and I were walking the trails around Gooseberry Park. There was an orchestra playing in the park, and it was wonderful. And please compliment those who were part of that. And so I respond back that, it's so wonderful to hear that people notice this sort of thing. And the response was even better. There was a nice crowd on a beautiful summer night, and the music was great. We can't ask for much more, And so that's really related to the experience, that helps create this place. And that's what I think that's where it's at for Moorhead. And so we started, my mind started rolling through we've been talking about music at the farmer's market and out, just out, not almost like kind of even not programmed, where you just kind of discover it, right? This cruise night is fun. We've got this partnership, this cool stuff happening with the high school. This light tunnel, the flower tunnel, I love that place. We've been working with Mara Morgan on maybe some selfie setups like around town that would just kind of pop up. This Fargo Moorhead Community Theater that's going to be happening, the experiences that will grow out of that. And that's just, in the downtown area, there's all, it just goes on and on. So really excited about that, and just wanted to say thank you to the Economic Development Authority. We have a marketing budget, and one of the adjustments rolling into 2021 was the addition of $12,000 for some of these placemaking initiatives. These aren't hundreds or millions of dollars that it takes to do this sort of stuff. So your support and encouragement and letting this, getting, frankly, City Hall out of the way and letting people just do great things in the parks and the river and the places in Moorhead, I think is really gonna just spin that out, So with that, there's a fun idea that we're moving forward with. I'd be happy to hand it over. And are we running a video, or are we talking about it in person? All right, so there's a microphone right there if you want to jump on it. Thank you, Steve.
Hi, everybody. Dan and Derek. My name is Steve French. I work with Folkways. I guess first, let me thank you for the opportunity to get over my fear of public speaking. I hate this. But that being said, it makes me feel better. So for us, placemaking is iterative and organic, right? And so a lot of the times when we're conceptualizing some of this stuff, it's kind of hard to put through what we're trying to do because we quite frankly don't know yet, right? And so we take like an area. And so in the case of placemaking, like it's kind of broad, like along the riverfront and Center Avenue, it's kind of where we decided to hone in. And so from there was like that opportunity to put the light tunnel up because the components showed up for us to do that. Like Dan bought the lights and then we just kind of iterate on it. So in this project, we're just kind of like, how do we get more organic opportunity around Center Avenue? And so what are our pieces? What can we bring together? Like who can we partner with to make that happen? And so that's kind of what we're teeing up here, is that they're going to come with an idea that we brought up, that we can just bring some high school students around to the Center Avenue and do some painting. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Leslie Bugle, and I'm here with Ayana, and I am a teammate of Steve's. We work at Folkways, and I'm really excited, both as a member of Folkways and a local artist, to be able to present this idea with you. So the shipping container used to live at the Red River Market, and last year I got to paint the side that faced the stage. That was really exciting, and with the market moving to Broadway Square, we moved the container to the Moorhead Center Mall, where it now is. And the side facing the street is in need of a little refurbishment. So we thought it would be cool, and we've already built the momentum to work with the Moorhead High School students that are interested in art and the art teacher there to kind of put forth a design and a concept. We're hoping to paint it July 14th through the 17th, and we're really excited to be able to share. Ayana's going to talk about what the opportunity means to her, and then we're going to have some students who couldn't make it here in person today share a video about the concept.
I'm Ayana. I just graduated high school in the spring, and I'm an artist. I'm super excited about this project. It's the first time I've really done anything in the community, and it's a super large-scale piece of art. I've never worked on anything bigger than small. To work with my classmates and friends on this design, and I'm super excited to start painting with my fellow artists.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to play the video. These are 3 students. They'll introduce themselves. They'll kind of talk about the design for 1 minute, 30 seconds, and then I'd be happy to take any questions that any of you have. Volume. Any questions in the meantime?
How did you select the students?
Yeah, so I reached out to the art teacher, and then she reached out to some students that she thought would be a good fit. We pulled together a meeting before school was out of session, so I went into their art classroom, and then after that, our meetings took place in our office downtown.
How many student artists will you be working with?
In the group chat, we have 15, but those that attend the meetings kind of vary. So I've already made a form with signups for the painting shifts. Right now we have 3. So, you know, the numbers maybe vary between 3 to 15. But yeah, I think more people will come through with the signups. I just sent them out a couple days ago.
Well, I just have to say, I think the connection that you've maintained with the school that you went to and the arts program that you went through
Yes.
is really pretty special.
Yes, I'm a Moorhead alumni. I don't think I said that in the beginning. So it means a lot to me to be able to kind of full circle, be able to work with the students. And I used to be one of you. And now I'm able to work and kind of connect all the dots there to make the art happen in my hometown. So that does mean a lot.
Say as we're waiting for volume 2, just another element, and Dan mentioned this a little bit, but it feels now more than I've ever experienced in Moorhead over the last almost 4 years that things are coming to us organically. Maybe you used to be trying to pull somebody to try to do something in Moorhead, but we're getting more and more ideas, more and more requests just to try things. And I think these ideas that are coming from community members or from Moorhead Business Association and working with others on Moorhead Cruise Night, and the amount of people that are showing up to these events is just truly spectacular. So I think that shows the energy and the momentum that Moorhead has, that I really hope we can continue to build on as well.
If I can add, Leslie Ann, sorry to put you on the spot, but can you, because we meet here once a month, but can you share a bit of your why? Because I think I was told you left the area, now you're back and you're involved. Share a bit of the why you still call here home.
You always like to put me on the spot, Alex. Yeah, so I grew up here. My parents took us on a lot of international travels when I was younger, so that instilled that spark in me. So I did do PSU at Concordia. And then when I graduated from Moorhead, I went to New Zealand for college. But I missed a lot of my community connections there that I had here. So obviously it's a beautiful country, so I enjoyed my time there, but I did move back here after I graduated from there. And I really was able to connect both of my global and my local perspectives to really make those events happen here that I felt were lacking in high school, make the public art happen here that I felt was lacking in high school, and to kind of connect with my home roots that I might have been a bit angsty at in high school as well. So it's been a really fulfilling experience. And like I said, to work with the high school students on this project, to make it such a public-facing, it's the street-facing Center Ave, so that should really bring a lot of people to, hoping you can all see the concept. It'll make you all excited as well.
Yeah, why don't we, so we have to restart the computer.
Okay.
Yep, it's always something. If it's
Wanna
all right, so
talk
we can
about
run
something
that
else?
if it's all right. And I don't know if there's anything, Christy, we've been just kind of going over, you're welcome to sit it out, or if there's anything you'd like to share related to placemaking. Well, yeah, you'd be way better.
Greetings, everyone. Christy Lashevsky, City Moorhead Community Development Director, and we have so many great things happening in Moorhead this summer with some of the placemaking funds and other art and culture funds that the City Council has related in our budget for 2021. Just going to hit on a couple of them before we wait for the video to restart. We have a public art concept at Davie Memorial Park that's going to be going to the City Council tonight. It was previously reviewed by our Art and Culture Commission and our art review team. It's a great concept by 2 local artists, Katie Miller and Emily Williams Wheeler, of oversized, brightly covered beavers swimming through Davie Memorial Park. It's going to be a great photo op for some of our new event centers that are downtown in our park right there. We have started looking at music at the market for our local farmers market, getting some local musicians. If you happen to know any singles or duos that are looking for opportunities, please give us a call. Also working with local artist Mara Morkin to see if we can come up with some sort of opportunity right here where we're sitting at the Youngcom Center. We see all of these things happening. We saw it with Mary's Light Tunnel, people wanting to create opportunities and memories in different spaces. And so we're working with Mara to see if she can come up with something here at the Youngcom Center that would be maybe a selfie station or something that could really create great memories when they're visiting. Also, a lot of things going on in Moorhead this summer. Cruise night. We got the community theater coming right here to this building. The Light and Flower tunnel right next to us here as well, and then the high school partnership. So we're just really excited of of everything that's happening, and appreciate the EDA giving us some funds this year for that placemaking. I promise if you give us any in the future, we can take a little bit of money and make it go a really long way. So thank you.
You.
You know, and if it's going to be a challenge, we can email it. Yes. Okay. All right. So let's call it an update. We're going to send you the video, and then we'll be back with more stuff as this goes. Because one of the hopes here is that, you know, I mean, if I'm being honest, we do 3 seasons really well: fall, summer, springtime, winter. You know, this last year there was some really kind of neat stuff happening with outdoor activations. We were kind of forced outside with the pandemic and things like that. But trying to figure out how this sort of work can also incorporate how we utilize and enjoy all 4 seasons in our region.
Yes.
I just wanted to say how much I appreciate this, and Christy also mentioned the project that we'll be looking at City Council tonight. And I think when I look at what we've been doing in terms of public art, what I like is how intentional everyone is being about. It's not just about putting, you know, an art installation outside. It's how it builds community. That it, you know, we're looking at things that are very interactive, that are not just bringing people out, but also bringing people together to make those connections. And so I really see that, and it made me think about when we did the bench wraps last fall. And here it was a really cold day, and we still had so many people that came out to see it, and we had music and everything. And I think the more we can do that, of really use these as those catalysts for building community and getting people out and getting them to get to know each other better, it's just great. And it's just, again, it's another, I think, great part of what we're doing in our downtown and throughout Moorhead. So thank you.
I just want to say thank you too for all that you're doing. It's an exciting time. So I appreciate the update. We'll look forward to seeing the rest of the presentation.
Fair.
All right. Moving on, we'll talk about the 2021 legislative update, I think. Lisa.
Well, good afternoon, Chair Burns and members of the EDA. I'd say we're about 60 hours from knowing exactly what the legislature will do this session. The regular session ended on May 17th without resulting in a conclusion. For the odd year legislative session, their primary goal is to establish the state's biennial budget. And the new budget year begins on July 1st. So they went into special session on June 14th, and that work continues. So I expect there to be some results by midnight on the 30th. You know, they could finish earlier than that, but we're only 2 days away from that. So the new budget year, as I said, begins on July 1st. At this time, as I understand, 7 of the 14 budget bills have been sent to the governor's office, and we're hearing that nearly all of the areas of the budget do have tentative agreement. And I put a up-to-date legislative dashboard at everybody's chair. I believe if you don't have one, I do have extra copies here. And I had hoped to, again, give you conclusions on Moorhead's legislative agenda, but that's not quite possible. As far as where things stand on each of these initiatives, our bonding, there's been no conclusion. The House has presented 3 different versions of a budget bill, one of which includes, I believe, $2 million for the city's request of $17.5 million for flood mitigation projects that we have remaining. The Senate version, the Senate has talked about making adjustments to existing projects, but not entertaining, that I know of, any new funding at this time. So we may not have funding results for the city of Moorhead on that issue, but typically odd year budget years are not major bonding years. And we have inputted 2022 funding requests for the full amount of flood work remaining, which is $17.5 million. So that is keyed up for 2022 if we don't get success this year. So we're making contingency plans. And two very, very important programs to the city of Moorhead are the disparity reduction credit and the enterprise zone. And those programs, we had no specific requests this year, but they remain in the governor's budget at full funding, and there were no changes to policies in 2021. And so we expect that to remain status quo, which is a good thing for Moorhead, very good thing. Another policy matter that we have requested is an adjustment to the frost footing depth for new residential 1 and 2 family homes to be equal to that of what we have in Fargo and West Fargo. And it appears that that will not be in the final bill. However, the Department of Labor and Industry has established a they call it a technical advisory group to study this issue. And two of our main testifiers in the legislative work on this issue have been our building official, Jack Nyberg, and a local home builder, Don Dabbert Jr., who is a member of the Home Builders Association of Fargo-Moorhead and builds, wonderful homes. And they've been great advocates for this change, and both of them are on this technical advisory group. So I have some reason for optimism on that issue. So it just might not happen as quickly as we want it to. We've made it further than we ever have. We were in the Senate version of the bill, and the House, did give it due consideration, but it's not in the final version. And then last but certainly not least is the local option sales tax authority that Moorhead has requested in order to build a new regional public library and community center. And it does appear that that is positioned very well. It appears that authority will be granted at $31.59 million, and collections may occur over a period of up to 22 years. So next steps, and I'll, Mr. Molly may want to add commentary, but I believe that the mayor will establish a committee to work on a vision for the project, and that could possibly be brought to voters in 2022. All we're requesting from the legislature is the authority to ask the question. So it becomes a matter of the city council affirming whether they want to proceed with that, and then it's up to the voters. So we need a majority vote in order to proceed with that project. And so that's an update on where we're at. And I also want to take a moment to recognize the EDA's role in the city's legislative advocacy. The EDA budget funds the consultants that we have on our advocacy team that provide a variety of specific skill sets and touch points with our legislators and legislative staff at the Capitol and other relevant parties. And our partners include the firms of Flaherty and Hood and Frederickson and Byron, and also the part-time consulting services of the city's former lobbyist, Scott Hutchins. And these individuals have provided insights and real-time information that allow me to respond to opportunities and challenges, kind of going with the flow and trying to, keep Moorhead at the forefront of everybody's decision-making. So we channel that information into the city's current historical and future legislative success. So I'll just end with gratitude and respond to any questions that you may have, or maybe if Dan wants to add any. Nope, Dan says it's time for your questions if you have any.
Any questions from anyone?
I think just for reference to Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but the frost depth one, if if it's enacted, I think it may add an additional like $3,000 to the home build if we're required to go deeper on the Moorhead side versus the North Dakota side.
We're already deeper, so it would alleviate about a $3,000 expense that homes are incurring now. So we've asked for legislative relief for building codes, trying to make consistency within our metro area rather than just uniformity within the state. And that has not been something that Department of Labor and Industry has recognized as important. And so it is an uphill climb. We've asked for very broad relief in the past, and this time our strategy was to narrow it to one issue in which we know we have the same climate, we know we have the same soils and geography, and so we thought this was one area where we may find that agreement, but it is not, and it's harder than it sounds. The state has two the state of Minnesota is divided into two sections. For frost footing depth, you're either at 48 inches in the southern half of the state, half is, kind of relative, and then in the northern half it's 60 inches. So that's a big difference. And what we're asking for is to be equal to Fargo, which is 48 inches. So, 54 inches. So we're asking for something in the middle. And I think what the state would prefer would be to have another swath, if there is one, across the entire state rather than carve out our metro area. So we don't have a foregone conclusion, but we are continuing to advocate that it makes sense for Moorhead and for Dilworth and for Breckenridge, Minnesota. East Grand Forks, which is one of the other border cities, is in the 60-inch. The Grand Forks, North Dakota is also at 60 inches, so this would not affect East Grand Forks, and it would not affect the fifth border city, which is Ortonville, Minnesota. So it affects our 3 cities. So those cities are advocating for it with their legislators as well.
Lisa, are there any cities along the eastern border that are also advocating for this kind of change?
We are asking for authority under the Border Cities statute, which only includes those 5 cities. And I think those same cities, while everyone would like greater authority, I think because we are the larger or the smaller of the cities, we can show the economic impact of not having the same authority as North Dakota. There is no other city or state with the kind of latitude that North Dakota has on these issues, and so it would be harder for them to show the disparate impact of not having the same standard. So we've been really trying to narrow it and limit it to, to be irrefutable.
Thank you.
A question for you, Lisa, if I might. So on the frost footing, does this impact all homes or just homes, for example, that would be slab on grade? So a full basement, for example, I'm trying to think of home builders in our community. Does it impact all homes equally or just those that would have that foundation within that 60 inches of the surface?
It impacts bilevels and it impacts slab on grades. It would not impact something with a full depth basement because the basement would be deeper than that, but it's estimated that about 70% of homes built in Moorhead are one of those 2 forms of construction. So it really does impact, and those also, if you think about it, would likely be the most affordable of the homes in the community too. So it's a competitive issue for us, but it's also a housing affordability issue for us.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Lisa, first I wanted to thank you for all your great work during this session. And I know you're probably already thinking a lot about the next session. And so I wondered what, if you had in mind any kind of a postmortem after the session ends with our local legislators, just to get some inside information about what we might have done differently, or anything that we can do to make the case even more strongly for the next session.
Absolutely. They have been great at staying in touch throughout the session. We are texting and calling and emailing as needed and appropriate, and always confer with them before we do any testimony. There have been several hearings this session as opposed to last session where, you know, the whole process was adjusting to the pandemic. So we absolutely will. I think that the MBA, the Chamber, and others have tried to schedule some debriefs on the legislative session already, and then with the extended special session, those have been postponed. But absolutely, we'll do that, and we'll also have a session at some point, hopefully sooner than last year's was, I believe, in December, where we can work with the City Council to establish legislative priorities going into 2022.
You. Any further questions? Staff have anything else to add?
Oh, other than, you know, this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for you. So thank you to the Economic Development Authority for supporting this work. And there's just no question in my mind that Moorhead's kind of profile in the state, locally, in the nation is just rising. So this is the way we're doing it. So the fact that we've got the ability to show up, I guess, make new friends, and enjoy the time in St. Paul is really fantastic. So thank you too, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you all.
Great.
Say, could I add one more thing?
Yes.
I'm sorry. So, you know, one of the things I think that's really working here is that it isn't even during the session that counts, like, you know, being in the hallways or trying to catch folks for the, you know, the committee hearings, or try to grab while it's all happening. It seems like a lot of these relationships happen, you know, at like events at the park or throughout the year. And so, you know, if there are opportunities where you could just, you know, where we could recognize and thank people for their efforts, for their service, for their partnership, for helping us grow and develop in Moorhead throughout the year, please do take advantage of those. I think it's a strategy it's not even a strategy, it's just the relationships that are necessary to making this kind of work happen.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Number 9 on the agenda is the information update regarding the comprehensive plan and the county comprehensive and transportation plan. Any comments from anyone?
I'll just say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Christy, but I believe in mid-July, the consultants for the citywide comprehensive plan will be in town holding a public engagement opportunity. So be prepared to see some emails come out on that, and I hope you are able to participate in it.
You? And with that, as always, you can go to the city's website and get updates on the building permit and valuation report, as well as these other 2 comprehensive plans. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.